What's up, nation? Today we're talking about the potential return for Guitar Hero soon, because depending on when you grew up in gaming, you may or may not be a fan of this franchise, but it's one for me that I absolutely have been passionate about my entire life, and it's really kind of interesting to stop and think that there's not actually an easy way to play it on modern consoles today. There are ways you can play Rock Band 4, which is Harmonix's most recent release within the rhythm music game genre. There was also Guitar Hero Live, and there's a very interesting storied history between Harmonix, the original developer of Guitar Hero, and when they went on to create Rock Band. There's a whole thing with Activision stepping in and purchasing the brand Guitar Hero. They then used Neversoft to make one of my favorite games of all time, which is Guitar Hero 3 Legends of Rock. That was really when Guitar Hero was at the height of its popularity, as you couldn't walk into any store without actually seeing people playing Guitar Hero and having potentially a crowd gather behind you if you were any good playing one of the top tier songs on Expert, like Through the Fire and Flames. You'd oftentimes have a crowd form behind you, and it was a really cool moment in time, and it's also very much responsible for exposing me to a lot of the classic rock music that I would have maybe not stumbled upon otherwise, in addition to making me a fan of metal that I am today. I'll never forget playing One from Metallica for the first time and not having heard that song before, not knowing what was around the corner after the slow build into the heavier section of the song. It really cemented me as somebody who would grow up to love metal music and everything that it has to offer. And now obviously my tastes have completely branched into a bunch of different paths of bands within various different genres, but I have Guitar Hero to thank for a lot of my roots there. Well, the one thing that may have killed Guitar Hero and Rock Band, because it's relevant to this conversation as well, really had to do with oversaturation within the market. If you were like me, you may have remembered at a certain point in time, it seemed like we were getting Guitar Hero and Rock Band games not only as yearly refreshes, but they also had spin-off games throughout. We had Guitar Hero 3, then like 6 months later, if I'm not mistaken, we had Guitar Hero Aerosmith. They started to do dedicated band games in addition to the main games, and you had both Guitar Hero and Rock Band to choose from, all pumping out content fairly regularly. A little bit too regularly if you ask some, and it really started to become a situation where people didn't see the value in purchasing a new Guitar Hero or Rock Band game when you already have such a vast library of songs on the previous games, and you really just wanted to have everything in one place, and it started to become very fragmented and disjointed. Then, not to mention, you have to buy new peripherals. Sometimes these guitars and drums and everything else that they would sell as part of the ongoing band sets would start to break, and that was a big issue. And clearly, when you stop and look around at the Activision Blizzard business model today, it is not reliant on Guitar Hero at all, as since Guitar Hero Live, we haven't seen the franchise make a return, and you have them shifting their focus to games like Call of Duty, Diablo, amongst many other franchises that are really the big revenue drivers for Activision Blizzard. And there's been a lot of back and forth during this entire Microsoft Activision Blizzard merger about the potential for certain franchises to come back, and now we may have the biggest hint that Guitar Hero is maybe not only set for a return, but the wheels may already be in motion if you look at some of the recent comments made by Bobby Kotick in a recent employee town hall meeting, where it sounds like they're going over what the future of Activision Blizzard looks like following the closure of the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal, because that's set to apparently close at any day now. It may even close on the day you're seeing this video. No telling for sure, but we are right around the corner of getting the official green light and Activision Blizzard officially being a part of Microsoft. And to first get on the same page with exactly what was said from Mr. Kotick here and why many are believing that Guitar Hero is right around the corner from an official return, we need to quickly hop over to VGC, where you can see their detailed typed up article together. Activision CEO hints again that Guitar Hero may return. Bobby Kotick has previously said that AI tech could lead to the series revival. As reported by Windows Central, Kotick held an internal town hall meeting with Activision Blizzard employees on Tuesday, in which he discussed the state of the company ahead of its seemingly imminent acquisition by Microsoft. During the meeting, Kotick reportedly started discussing how Microsoft's strength in technology research could lead to improvements in the way Activision makes its games. A big part of what I've seen in Microsoft is research, Kotick reported saying. And they do development in areas that are extraordinary. And so being able to tap into their AI and machine learning capability, the data analytics, new ways of thinking about graphics, I just see unlimited potential for what we do. Kotick then reportedly added that Activision is uniquely situated as a company because it has the very best franchises in all of video games, before naming previous Activision games that transformed the industry in the early days, such as Pitfall, River Raid, and Kaboom. Then appearing to suggest a new entry in the publisher's successful music series is in the works, he added, the re-emergence of Guitar Hero and other things would not be possible without the different types of resources. And so you know, just the endless possibilities for the future are incredibly exciting. Kotick had already said earlier in the year that he felt a new Guitar Hero game could be made with AI technology. In another company-wide meeting in May, Kotick said, I've always had this vision for what a new Guitar Hero product could be, but without having AI, and then the processor embedded either in their phones, in computers, or in game consoles that allow you to actually have the speed of processing to enable that AI. We've never been in a place where AI is going to have practical reality and applicability for games until now. Kotick also said in January 2022 that should the Microsoft acquisition be completed, he'd like to see the return of retired series, citing Guitar Hero and Skylanders as two examples. So if you can't tell already, I'm entirely all for this return of Guitar Hero. I think it's time. It's been a long enough break. You don't have to release a game annually, and you don't have to do a bunch of spin-off banned games, although I do think you could pepper those in occasionally. I really think that you just have to, at this point in time, get a great foundational new reboot for Guitar Hero out there. Just call it Guitar Hero. Don't even throw a number on it or anything. It's been long enough. And then continue to support it with DLC, and maybe occasionally have a band-focused DLC where you get to go through and relive a band's history, similar to a lot of the Guitar Hero Aerosmiths of the world, Guitar Hero Metallica, my favorite band spin-off game of all time. And even Rock Band did that with Rock Band The Beatles. Like, make it about the band, make it about their story, but sell it as a $30 or $40 DLC add-on where you have access to all of those tracks and the new story mode, but have it all tied back to that original base game. Now, when he talks about AI potentially playing a big role within Guitar Hero and the future of it, I think it makes a lot of sense because in theory, you could train a program automatically to chart songs. I think that's even something that's already being done in the ongoing Guitar Hero community within Clone Hero and things like that. I don't think you actually have to go through and painstakingly add each note, but rather you can have AI trained to put out an entire music track that is entirely accurate for guitar, bass, and drums, and even vocals, and not really have to do that programming work yourself. That means if Activision Blizzard is serious about this and following the Microsoft merger, it is a focus for them that they could theoretically not have to put in too much work to the game other than laying the core foundation, have AI go and chart all of the different tracks that they're going to be bringing over, just do quality control throughout, and really your biggest, most time-consuming part of maintaining and supporting that game will just be the music licensing rights and getting bands and record labels to sign off on having whatever kind of revenue share agreement for having their music on the game. I really think that that would be an ideal future for the series, and Phil Spencer has also mentioned that he would love to see dormant IPs come back from Activision Blizzard, and I think Guitar Hero needs to be at the top of that list. And if you really pay attention to Kotick's words there, it sounds like he's insinuating to employees that probably already have knowledge of some project that could even be ongoing right now, that a return to Guitar Hero wouldn't be possible without Microsoft, making it sound like the wheels are already in motion in this thing. So we haven't gotten any kind of official announcement at this point in time, but I do think that if I'm a betting man, one's going to be around the corner. We don't know how long into development a game like this might be, but it sounds like if it's not already in active development, it is definitely on the books for a plan. And if you have AI doing the bulk of the work when it comes to music charting and things, you might only have to do character models and set the parameters for all of the note hit windows and things like that. And I personally hope that if we do indeed see Guitar Hero return, that it is a true return to form. Ditch that ridiculous Guitar Hero Live controller that tried to do 3 buttons on the top, 3 buttons on the bottom. Go back to the old school 5-button layout, green through orange, make it to where the entire band can play. And yes, that probably means a $200 retail band kit where you get a drum kit as well as a guitar and a microphone, but bring that back. I do think it's time for it. With online play, DLC options, and AI potentially doing a lot of the heavy lifting, I think Guitar Hero can really thrive in the modern era, and I would be very excited to see an entire new generation of gamers get exposed to a ton of timeless classic music once again, because I do think that this thing could go mainstream all over again. There's definitely a big hole to fill in music rhythm games right now, and I think Guitar Hero can do it if brought back in the right way. And will we see a return to Rock Band with something like Rock Band 5 after the return of Guitar Hero? It's entirely possible. Don't oversaturate the market with it, but I do think that it is more than welcome to return in my book. But that's really where I want to hear from you guys, what your personal thoughts would be about a return for Guitar Hero in the modern day. Do you think we could see it anytime within the next year or two? Do you think that maybe this project is indeed already in motion? And are you somebody who has a ton of nostalgia for the series like I do? And if you are, please share what your most nostalgic moments are within the Guitar Hero franchise. And tell me if you think it would be a commercial success once again this time around, and whether or not you would pick it up if it comes to modern consoles like Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. But regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, which is on screen right now. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.